Hey everyone, we're live yet again, and this is one of my authors' chats of the week, and I will be keeping my eye out for my co-host. We'll get things going in just a few minutes. We'll be talking about books, writing, publishing, and everything in between. And I see him now, so let me go send an invite. And I think actually, when we see this, I just realized I may have a filter on. Probably do. Let's see. Hi!
How are you?
I'm good. Okay, I was a little worried. I realized that somehow I had a filter still on, which, I mean, that's fine by me, but I just didn't want to, plant surprise on you. But how are you?
You know what, today, I had something fun happen today. Primeval Ranch. So,
Yes.
Dino Rift was my original highest pre-order book at 65.
Ooh, yes.
Primeval Ranch, 66.
Woo!
New all-time high.
High
So
five.
I am pumped. We had pancakes for supper to celebrate.
Love
Awesome.
it. And when is the launch?
Launch is April 15th.
Okay, so you might
There's
actually have
time.
another pre-order.
There's time.
or two.
Might hit that 70.
Yes.
We'll see.
That would be really cool. And I'll also say thank you again for doing this week because
Oh, no worries at all.
for anybody who's listening and doesn't know, I double booked myself last week between our original chat and a birthday gift event thing for my husband. Whoops. So
I was heartbroken. No, I'm just kidding.
I do appreciate you
It's
letting
okay.
us go and do
All
that.
good.
So.
You guys had fun?
We did. I took
Awesome.
him to the Cowboy Bebop experience. So the one where they play
really?
the live music and they clip it to that show, which he loved.
Right.
So
Okay.
that was our night out, going
Fun.
back in kind of a retro anime.
Nice. Yeah.
Jazz. But okay, so that's so exciting. You have an upcoming April release, and you
I'm
have
so excited.
pre-orders available
So
now.
excited.
So what number book of your series is this particular one? Because I know you
So-
also, I think, have a side tangent.
Yeah, so this is book 3 of the Dino Rift series. It is all new characters, so it's kind of like, as it says, a Dino Rift spin-off.
Ooh.
But it is a continuation past what's happened in the events of Dino Rift and Sorokor, Salvation. So you do get to see some cameos from the characters from previous books, but it mainly focuses on a new crew. So
Fun. And what made you decide to deviate in this direction and try to start with some new characters for your third book?
that's a great question. So Dino Rift itself was supposed to be a standalone.
I understand that feeling. Okay.
Yeah, and I thought this is going to be the start and beginning and end of Cam and Viv's story.
Mhm.
And then people wanted more. And the way I kind of left the end of Dino Rift, I went, you know what? Okay, I can see how I could probably do a sequel, which then Sorokor Salvation happened.
Mhm.
That I knew was the official end of Cam and Viv's story.
Okay.
But kind of what happens throughout those books is I've opened up this world where now there are time-displaced dinosaurs in our time. What are the repercussions of that? So Primeval Ranch kind of is based on a ranch owned by a widower named Ernie. He has time-displaced creatures find a home on his ranch. And then through events, I won't say because spoilers, this main character of Lucero, or Luz for short, she ends up helping Ernie on his ranch. For her, though, when we find her in this book, she has recently lost her mother. She doesn't know how to handle that, but she doesn't even want to think about it. She just wants to be with the dinosaurs on the ranch because that's where she's finding solace. Then we come to find out her father is working for a dinosaur cartel. Yes, I'll say that again, a dinosaur cartel.
Yes.
Not only that,
yes. But...
yeah, so not only that, but Sorokor has kind of changed from being in the first book an evil corporation. Now they're trying to do the right thing of finding these displaced dinosaurs and creatures and send them back to the time they're meant to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got Sorokor, who has hired a couple of their best agents that have never met before. So he's kind of like the grumpy with like the wild card character, and how do they get along? So they also find the ranch and are kind of like, hey, we need to take these dinosaurs back to where they came from. Meanwhile, Ernie's going, get off my lawn. This is my property, my dinosaurs. So, and Luz also wants to protect the dinosaurs from being taken by either side, but it all leads to an explosive ending. So, action-packed.
I love that. That's so neat. I absolutely love that. And okay, correct me if I'm wrong. And your one of your most beloved characters, it sounded like from some of your fans last time we talked, was a dodo.
Yes, Frodo the Dodo with a PH.
Frodo the dodo.
Yeah, because Frodo with an F is copyright and trademark and all that fun
Yes,
stuff.
well, yes. I'm some authors and some can
Yeah,
figure out how
I
to
found
do
my way around that.
I like that. I like so Frodo the dodo is
Yeah.
is Frodo going to make an appearance in the third book or again I haven't read the I'm so sorry I haven't read
That's okay. So many books, so little time, right?
Oh my god, I'm just the slowest reader.
That's okay.
Plus,
Okay.
I really want a signed copy from you, so until the day I can afford to ship one in.
All good. No. Frodo, unfortunately, does not make a cameo in this book. There are other cameos, and a fun thing about this book, actually, we do come across a saber-toothed tiger.
Yes.
Now, through events, again, I will not say, because spoiler, that saber-toothed tiger disappears. And we don't know what happens to it until you read my coming soon at the end of the book. So,
fun. I love saber-toothed tigers, and they've always fascinated me to the point that the book that I released last summer, I introduced my kind of fantasy version of my saber-tooth, which is based off the Smilodon from North America. Fantastic. I do love the fact that you have all the drawings in yours.
Ella, did your copy come in today? I sent off early signed paperbacks last Thursday, and so many people are getting them today. Like, even the UK, it took from Thursday to today.
Wow.
For the person, I was like, holy crap.
Timing is everything.
Yeah. But this works out great because, I mean, if there's any other authors watching, if you can get your hands on early copies and send them off, it takes a little more off you to have to market because people are going to post and say, hey, I got book mail. Look at this. Coming soon.
It took me a little while to figure out how to do that. And I made one of those woe to me videos because I have been ordering through Zon behind the scenes for my author's copies, and I missed the memo. I did not realize they changed relatively recently. I don't know, like the last couple of years. Relatively recently, they changed their policy where you could set your date for release in advance.
I just learned that too, actually.
You do that, and they approve it behind the scenes, then you can order your author's copies in advance. And I was like, oh! But I had just missed it I was too close to my release date when I realized that this time. So I'm like, okay, going forward, I like this plan. So
I learned that because I haven't published anything in 2 years. So it's like I feel like a debut author all over again to a degree. And I'm going through KDP and I'm going, this is new. Is this actual pre-order? No, it's not pre-order, but you can set it and then order author copies. I was like, oh, that works too.
I was wondering if that was the way you did it too, because I know if you're a person who sells wide, you can kind of order authors copies in advance through some of the other platforms. I think like Ingram Sparks does that, but I've not used those platforms before, so I have not had that capability.
So, fun story with the whole Primeval Ranch thing. There's actually 2 stories to this.
Yes.
I sent off my ARC copies to readers, and I was so excited because it's been 2 years. I ordered 60 copies. So, I have an ARC reader that messaged me the one day, and she goes, I found a few errors here. And I'm like, okay, a few's fine. I can handle that. And if it's in all 60, that's okay too. I go back into my manuscript, and as I'm checking on stuff, I find more.
Oh, no.
And I find more. And I find more. Also, Andrew! And I realize it's like 20 to 30 things, including like my Canadian spelling came out. Like color, flavor with the OU, neighborhood, all this stuff. Recently learned Wild West needs to be capitalized because it's a proper name of a time. Neanderthal needs to be capitalized.
Yes.
And there were some words that were not supposed to be in sentences. There were some words missing. And I'm like, If you could have seen me that day, I was so stressed, like my throat closing up, wanting to cry. Because I'm like, 60 paperbacks are coming in with all these errors that got past me, my editor, my proofreader, my beta readers. Like, I couldn't believe how many things got past us. I take it all on me, though, because, I mean, I am the last person to read through it, and my bad. So I gave people the option who had ordered signed copies. You can either get the oopsie version or wait for a fixed version. Thankfully, at least 20 people still said, you know what, this is first edition. Yeah, there's going to be errors, but these might be worth millions when you become a super famous author. I'm like, okay, that's a good spin. I'll take that. Then I told one person who is an amazing, amazing human being in the book talk world. Her name is Tanya. I won't say her last name, but I told her the situation, and she goes, I know you've been going through a really rough time lately, and it's probably because of that brain and everything going on is why you miss these things. She said, I want to help. I go, what do you mean? She goes, I want to donate $200 US to you to help cover some of the copies of these errors, and do with them whatever you want. She goes, I've seen people turn books into art. You can do a bunch of other things. So I ended up actually cutting out some of the sketches from the book and using them like little extra book swag stuff. But the fact that she did that, the fact there are still people in this world that are willing to do things like that and not ask anything in return. Like, she hadn't even paid her invoice yet for the paperback. She paid the invoice and then sent the extra 200. I'm just like, in Canadian, that's almost 3.
Yeah.
And I cried for a totally different reason after that.
Oh God, that's one of those wonderful stories that makes me love the community we're in, because I don't know how many other different pockets of people are just so generous, caring. Let me see if I can speak. And just
Andrew knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah, just amazing people as you have in the bookish community, and that's just one of those stories that is just so wowing. So
I just couldn't believe it. And she's like, you know what, you have given my grandkids so much joy with your books. Again, I'm just like, oh my god.
I love that.
But
man.
Yeah, and then so crazy thing was, I go and I fix my manuscript. I send it to my formatter, and I get the files back. I upload everything. I wait for the confirmation email that usually says, you know how it says it hasn't changed yet, it needs to be approved.
Yeah.
So I approve it. I wait for the email confirmation. Everything's good. I order 50 copies. I get my paperbacks in 2 days. I'm going 50 copies in 2 days? Like, that's not
actually pretty good. Yeah, that is.
I'm going, holy. So I open up the box. I'm super excited. And I'm like, I'm going to take a copy up to my parents. And as I'm going up the stairs, I open it up and I realize this is still the unedited version.
Oh, no.
And I go down, back to the box, open up the next one, unedited. Next one, unedited. I'm going, is this a box of 50 unedited books, even though I approved it? So I get on the horn with KDP, and people don't usually get to see this side of me, but Mean Derek came out.
I don't believe you have the inside.
I was livid. I don't do this often. Like, I try to keep I'm a very usually understanding person, but I was swearing at this guy. And I'm just like, this is bullcrap. This is bullcrap. I approve this. This is my timeline. And the guy goes, hold on, let me go talk to my techs. Sure enough, the techs are like, yep, we see your timeline when you uploaded. We see when you got the email. I said, I demand a refund there, because they said, you will get your refund.
Good.
So then, on top of that.
Oh, no.
No, so this is where the story takes a turn.
Oh, God.
I'm going, you know what? I'm just going to look through all these books. And I find 40 copies that are fine. And they threw in 10 of the unedited version with it, and I assumed the entire box was bad.
Well, like, I mean, you did them through like a number of them, so
yeah. I'm just like, okay, now I feel like a complete idiot that I didn't check through all the books.
I have a story for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Not as intense.
I love stories.
Not as bad. But yeah, the KDP printing thing, sometimes I have head scratchers. I just got some of my latest book and finally my paperbacks, and still waiting for the hardcovers. But it was interesting because they packaged them all so nicely, except this one little box, and then they had a couple, they had like this dents and dings, and they were missing one. But I will just say, when you talk to them, they're actually pretty good about reimbursing and fixing errors. Yep. The one that got me recently, I can't explain it, and I had missed this issue. Thankfully, it was only one book, I think.
Okay.
I grabbed I have a dinged and dented pile. So anytime I get some that are damaged, I put them in the I'll sell them at discount or whatever. And so I grabbed those when I kind of use to flip through or demo, because if they get damaged, they're already damaged. Right. So I grabbed one. Thankfully, again, it was in that pile. And I was thumbing through to get some excerpts. And when I was doing that, I realized in the middle of the book, not in the beginning, because I don't usually go page by page to every book of every order. In the middle of the book was 4 pages of a totally different book.
I've heard of that happening.
One of my other books, but it was a preceding book. Like, that should never have crossed over. And I was just like, wait, is there another book out there that has 4 pages of this book?
I've heard of books showing up where like the cover is upside down or the interior is upside down inside of it. Like,
yes, now I feel like I have to go page by page to every book I order, because I was just like, I would never have fathomed to look that far in for an error. So I'm just like, well, that's a special book. But here's something for you. If you have all these, I don't know if you have any of them left, but if you have all these,
I do,
kind of oopsie books.
Yep.
One fun thing you could do is, again, sell them at, lower price. But if you have favorite quotes, highlight them and make them kind of like personalized. And so, it kind of makes up for the fact that they may not be as edited. It's the personal highlights, and you just tuck them in there. You don't tell where they are, and people can go and enjoy them. Or you annotate your favorite thing.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, this is my personal annotation. If you're annotating this, hello.
Yes. But do something that would make it kind of, again, quirky, fun, because people, hopefully will know that they're buying an oopsie book, and then they get just a little bit of a chuckle, a smile, something that's just that little extra. So I don't know.
There's probably around 30 copies that are the oopsie still. But I sent off a bunch of the good version today. Actually, one is also going to the UK, and we'll see if it beats the record of the other one.
There you go. Shipping can be strange, and I definitely know that. So yeah,
sorry, all the buddies are coming in. They're yelling my names because I yell their names when I go into lives too.
I love it.
I love the reciprocation.
It is, again, going back to how the fun this community is, and you are definitely one of those people. Whenever I come across your videos or see you on a live, or you pop in one of my lives, you just come off with this happy, fun personality. Again, do not believe that you have an angry side to you, so I don't know.
Yeah. I like to be the unofficial hype man.
I love that.
Because everyone needs a good hype man.
I love that. Yeah. So, yes, Derek is amazing with his balls.
Old Daddy Dreadwolf, he reposts so much of my stuff. I love him.
It is
so good.
Yes, Benjamin, you are correct. The audio and the book community is fantastic. Absolutely. But let me go back to...
Oh, sorry, Evie.
Let me go back to the point of, you have an upcoming release that is super exciting. Are you planning anything outside of the fact that you've sent out some early copies to people? Do you have anything in mind to celebrate that you're going to have a book coming out this year, which... for anybody, those are always special occasions, or should be. Don't you do what I do, is just like release and then walk off.
Yeah. I actually still have to do some planning with my wife because for those that may have noticed, it's not just my name on the front, but A.L. Borne, that is my wife as
Yay!
well. So through 2023, that was my year of creative burnout. It was like every time I opened a document, my brain was like, oh, see ya. No, not doing it today. Until January 1st, 2024, it was like my brain just flipped a switch. And I finished writing this, still had just a few chapters I started. I finished writing this from January to April. I still got stuck in parts as I knew where I wanted to go. And my wife was brilliant with the brainstorming, helping me out. I wanted to give her the recognition she deserved, which is why I put her name on the front, because she is as much a part of this book as I am. So probably when this releases, I mean, our anniversary is May 5th. April 15th isn't that far. So we'll probably do something fun for anniversary, which at the end of May, we are going on vacation to visit friends in British Columbia, the other side of Canada from me. So that's probably where we'll do most of our celebrating. As for the actual day, I might just ask for the day off work. Just so I can go on live and hype it up and have fun.
Yeah, and it's always fun when you're able to live stream and hang out with, again, the book community on days that you're celebrating something, because then everybody else, one, you can remind them. Two, everybody wants to support each other. At least, thankfully, the people who I've met in this community all are very supportive. So
I don't know if my wife will allow me, but the fact that she's riding the dinosaur on the cover, I kind of want to get one of those inflatable dinosaurs that looks like you're riding them. Just show up on camera, just have this, be like, hey, I'm riding a dinosaur too.
That would be funny. And if that doesn't work, one thing you could do is print out a cutout of the dinosaur, stick it up to your phone so it looks like...
I like that.
I don't know. I have just the most random ideas.
That's okay. What I really want to do is, I still have to contact my formatter, but see if she can get me just the image of the girl riding the dinosaur so I can make a shirt.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Because if I walk around public places and they're like, he's got a shirt with a girl riding a dinosaur, be like, my books, Primeval Ranch. Go find it.
I like that.
QR code on the back.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You could put the QR code and then the title and all that kind of stuff. I love that. And if you have a special line, you can put that, you can make it as fancy as you want. I love that.
Welcome to Primeval Ranch. I actually have that. You know how like Jurassic Park's like, welcome to Jurassic Park. I have a line in here where it's, welcome to Primeval Ranch. What we like to call Primeval Ranch.
I love that. I wish I was more humorous with my writing. That is one thing I'm trying to challenge myself. Sometimes I can be a little quippy, but I think I just take myself depending on the series. Now, my young adult series, I've been kind of getting back into, again, the quippy humor, but I know some of my other series are just, a little darker and all that stuff, but everybody still wants that humorous character. Everybody needs that
Tori
kind of
knows, very quippy.
Yes. And so
Tori here, she actually purchased the first two books before reading the arc of Primeval Ranch, which I think she's probably almost done Primeval Ranch.
That's great.
She's like, I don't know why it took me so long to read these, because she's had the paperbacks actually for a bit. Oh yeah, that's it. I sent her signed copies, and she loved the Frodo the Dodo in the second book, especially because there's a scene where, so in the second book, Cam wants to propose, and he has a ring. I love telling the scene. It's not a spoiler. And Frodo gets his head into their duffel bag, Cam's duffel bag. And because it was around fruit, everything smells like fruit, which birds love. And all of a sudden, Frodo pops his head out, and he's got the ring and the box in his beak. And Cam's like, wait, where'd the ring go? And all of a sudden, he just sees Frodo waddling out from the room. And that's how the scene ends. And so the next scene is Cam trying to get this ring off Frodo. And Cam's going, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Frodo, give me the ring.
That's
And Tori's like, if you know, you know, in her review, she wrote about that. And I'm like, it's still one of my all-time favorite scenes and lines that I've ever written in the series.
Well, that kind of goes probably to what Benjamin just asked. He's asked, do either of us have a favorite line we've ever written, either dramatic or humorous? So would that be yours, or?
Probably for the humorous. For the dramatic, for me, it's from my first Ultimate Agent book, where the main character, Devin, who's kind of had to learn how to be like the leader of the team and really like take on the responsibility of being a hero. And he comes to say, it's not about how many people you save. It's not about defeating the villain. If you have the ability to help someone else, you do it no matter the sacrifice.
I love that.
And I know it's a long line, but I feel like that is the epitome of the sacrifice.
I love that. That's absolutely great. And I will say, to try to unfortunately answer this one, I don't know, the way my brain works, I don't memorize lines. Now, if I have a moment and I flip through a book, I'm like, yes, that's one, or that's the scene.
You write so many words. How do you pick just some?
It also doesn't help that I juggle like 9 projects at once, so my head kind of blurs them together if I'm not truly in that space. But there are probably a lot of them. I know for a very quick one, my young adult series, one that comes up over and over again, is just a very short sentiment, and it's anything is possible. And that one's used over and over again. But we're dealing with a magical multiverse, and so kind of the not a running joke per se, but just that concept of, you know, anything could be possible in these realities, and so never doubt and never.
I don't know why I always forget your books are a part of a multiverse.
Like my young adult series is a multiverse. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. I love that.
And gets a little complicated. That's the one that I actually put on I was working on the 6th book last year, put it on a hiatus because I got too complicated with all the different storylines and the characters that I was just like, I need a pause, wrote a different book, and now I'm back to kind of getting back into that groove again.
Right. Nice. You've got someone interested in your YA series.
Ooh, I do. My YA series is behind me. Make sure I don't drop anyone. So it's backwards, so you can't read it actually, but it's The 12 Tasks is the first one, and the series is called The Jed Chronicles, which is DJED. It's an Egyptian term, ancient Egyptian term. And hi, kitty kitty.
I have a little co-host today.
Hi,
Libby's
co-host.
just chilling beside me.
My co-host is too
evening nap.
big.
Oh, big yawn.
Haha, hi, kitty kitty.
So fluffy.
You're too sweet, baby. But yeah, my co-host, he's a horse dog. He would knock this down. So he is not allowed in when I live stream because he has knocked this down before.
This
is like ring light number 5 because of him.
You go, baby.
But yes, The 12 Tasks is my first book, and I have 4 out. The 5th one will be releasing later on this year, and it's just it's a portal fantasy. So again, that jumping through the portals, magical multiverse. It is a clean fantasy, family friendly. Yep, family friendly. But it deals with everything. I was thinking about it recently because I've never found a great way to just concisely pitch the idea because there's so much that goes on. But thinking back, I was like, I could always compare it to all the inspirations. There's bits of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Beast Wars from Transformers.
Oh, that takes me back.
Stargate SG-1 and Harry Potter and Dragonheart, and the list goes on. And I was just like, oh,
Dragonheart.
Just say
I haven't
all
watched that in forever.
It's all shaken up and just put into this series. I was definitely a 90s child.
Oh, same here.
It all appears in some way, shape, or form. It's great. But yeah,
Wait, I turned 36 this year. You?
I turned 36 this month.
Really?
Later.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Nice. Yeah, Stargate too. That's another no hints of Pokemon?
Probably more Digimon. I was the Digimon side of things. Don't judge.
Digimon was cool too. That was cool.
Don't judge. Yes, no, I love that. But but because that series is based off the magical multiverse my sister and I developed when we were children, that's why it has so many of these kind of inspirations.
Nice. Love it.
It's fun. So when did you actually, I know I've asked this. I had to have asked this. I would be shocked if I haven't. What made you decide you wanted to write a book on dinosaurs and portals. And when did you decide that? Was this something that you thought of when you were younger, or was this some concept that you developed, closer
Ever
to?
since I read Jurassic Park. I didn't write Jurassic Park. I read it. I always wanted to do something of a homage to Michael Crichton. We lost him way too young in the early 2000s. He was very ahead of his time and our time with what he wrote. Sorry, I did see another question that was from
I missed it. No.
Benjamin. What is the first step you take for world building? So all of my books exist in the same universe. When it comes to the Ultimate Agent superhero series, kind of what happens throughout that series is I always come at it from I'm not a magical paranormal type guy. I always wanted to see how can I ground things in the world of science and genetics that I've created. So like Ultimate Agent, the sequel to that is 6 novellas in one paperback, in one book you can also get, where they come across Bigfoot, Mothman, Loch Ness Monster. When I wrote the Loch Ness Monster part of this, I basically explained it in the way how I have time-displaced dinosaurs from the Dino Riff series. So that was kind of a stepping off point for that series. And it included some baby Loch Ness dinosaurs that everyone fell in love with. And I knew I had a hit as soon as people were like, oh, it's a baby dinosaur. Michigan Dogman, which was also fun with world building because I incorporated my editor's character of Park Thatcher. Because she said she always wanted to write a book with a spy. And I said, why not have him play with my guys? And so we did that. Then it was the Kraken and a Minotaur, which was all genetically based. That kind of built the world of some more of the villains, but also monsters that were just, what's the word when it comes to a villain? Like they're just not understood.
Oh, yeah.
So that really helped with world building for them and the cryptids. The Mothman does have some extraterrestrial background that I came at it from, but also includes a portal. So that's kind of been a theme since then for the dinosaur stuff and everything. But world building, you've got a spy organization, you've got villains, you've got other people that can do the same thing. So you're always building on, how does this affect the world? And even when it came to Dino Rift, after writing the superhero series, there's a chapter near the end where it's kind of like the end epic battle. And when I came to write Primeval Ranch, I went, what would be really fun is if in the very first chapter, I have Lucero, the main teenage character. She's on her way home from her friend's house. And it's the same time all these rifts are popping up near the end of Dino Rift. And I went, why not have her jump through one of these time rifts? And that's, as she goes through another one, ends up at Ernie's, which is nowhere near home. But far enough away that he can drive her home. And so that's kind of how they start their friendship. And it's just kind of one of those things where it still ties the world together, because when people, as I describe things that she's seeing when she goes through the rift, everyone that's read Dino Rift is going to go, he did that? He's taking her back to the end of Dino Rift? Like, what?
I love that.
When you deal with time travel, it's just, you can do so much, right?
Yeah, I have one book that dealt with time, and I feel like I liked doing it for that book, but it's not going to be like my go-to jam.
Okay.
But yeah, trying to go back to the question of world building, for me it all depends on the series and the purpose. Because I have some series that are based off retellings of mythology. So in my Nordic series, I'm releasing the first of my Greek retelling duology on my membership right now, or for the early access. But because those are retellings, the story's kind of already written. So the world building is not really the hard part there. It's when I'm developing truly, or trying to be as truly unique as possible series, like my young adult series, The Joe Chronicles, my shifter series, Incarn Saga, and what I'm doing right now is I have 2 potentially very long book series that I'm in the process of world building, and I'm approaching them very differently. One is the fact that I want it to be this kind of Witcher meets D&D vibe. So I'm trying to come up with the characters and kind of the climate of the world before I develop the story. So I'm doing it kind of a backwards approach than what I'm used to. But I feel like I need to know
I like that though.
how the world's set up, who goes where, what exists in this world, the magic systems, and kind of work backwards a little bit more towards the characters. I have a few characters already kind of developed. And then my other series is going to be a Magitech series and a little more political intrigue. So I have, again, the concept of the magic system first, and then how does that affect the technology, the people, the societies, is there a class system? And I'm kind of asking questions as I build out that world, and the characters are developing kind of on the backside of that one as well. But it all depends on a book and series, and world building is a lot of fun, no matter
totally
how
is.
you approach it.
Even to the point where, so in the first chapter of Dino Rift, one of the cops that shows up to a disturbance, which we find out is actually a raptor, he is talking to the homeowner, and the homeowner actually says, you know, even if I told you what this is about, you're not going to believe me. And the policeman says, after what we saw a couple years ago in Washington, referring to the final battle of my Ultimate Agent series, he's like, try me. But I don't really say what that event is. It's just after what we saw in Washington a couple years ago. So if anyone is a longtime reader of mine, they'll be like, wait, he just referenced this.
I like that. I wish I could stay within the same world or universe or multiverse, respectively. But I don't know. My brain just kind of ping pongs, and I have a new idea, and I'm like, ooh, I want to explore this world. And so, I have a standalone that will hopefully come out probably next year. That's it's going to be dealing with heraldic characters. So yes, you have griffins, but you can also have some other kind of heraldry animals that people don't really know about, kind of all coming and clashing together for that one. But let's see.
I have a griffin in my superhero series too. That shows up in the final book. Only it's genetically created.
See, but you can take fantasy and explain it like you're doing with genetic and technology and science, or you could do the opposite and kind of take science and tech, again with magic tech, and work it backwards and be like, oh, it's magic. Well, let me see.
Also, Tori, yes, her books are Nordic.
Yes, I have.
Yes.
Pulling out. For example, this one's part of my Guardian Speaker series. This is my they're novellas, so for mature readers, they are a little darker because Norse mythology is on the dark side.
That's true.
And so there's 16 novellas in all, and in print versions, I bundle them in omnibus bundles of 4. So that was 1 through 4, 5 through 8, etc., so on until 16. So there are 4 of those omnibuses out now, and that was my latest release, the omnibus side of things. So
love it. Also, Tori, don't ask us what our favorite series to write was. Don't ask us that question. You're making us choose over our children.
Yes, it's like asking who's your favorite book character. I'm
exactly.
If I'm kind of wanted to push buttons, the fun, just a nice way, I will ask that question. Be like, who's your favorite character? Because it's like, who's your favorite book? I'm like, they're all my book children. Don't do that. They're my book babies.
There are multiple characters throughout both series that are like the humorous, quippy people. So in Ultimate Agent, that definitely is main character Devon. In Dino Rift and Sorkor, that is Cameron. And in Primeval Ranch, you actually have 2 that are kind of on par with each other. There's Lucero's brother, Xavier. He has a very fun ode to the Goonies scene.
I love it.
Where he gets kidnapped and they're like, okay, tell me everything. And he's like, everything? And then he just starts blurting useless nonsense just to kill time. So him, and then also in Primeval Ranch, we meet Zoe Beaumont, which something happens to her mother in Sorkor Salvation. I won't say. But she wants to live up to her family name.
Wow.
And she's the wild card character, but she's also dealing with her grief. It's kind of like, I want to say Primeval Ranch was a bit of a character study on how different people deal with grief. So in Lucero's case, she doesn't want to face it. In Ernie's case, he's a widower. He's already lost, but he still keeps memory of his wife. For Zoe, again, something happens to her mother, and she's trying to live up to that name, but she's also having trouble dealing. And she's paired up with Evander, who is ex-military, who has gone through some pretty traumatic stuff in the military, and he found ways to work through his grief. So he's kind of helping Zoe to work through some of that, even though they're an unlikely duo. So it's a very... Celtic Blue, Tanya, hi. I mentioned you earlier and how much I love you because you're amazing.
Yes, he did. And the story was phenomenal, so.
Oh, man. It still gets me emotional.
Well, it should. I mean, I can't say it enough. The book community is such it's a magical little bubble.
It is. Yeah.
And I like to stay in that bubble. And I do see a question for you asking who does all your art for your covers.
So when I first started out in kind of like a fledgling author, I was in a Facebook group and got to know a very lovely woman named Molly Phipps, or M.A. Phipps as her author name is. She said to me, I am starting my own book cover business, and when you go to do your superhero series, I want to do your covers. I went, okay, cool. So she came up with Ultimate Agent, this one with the big UA. I told her I needed the UA because in the original books that I had published through Blurb, all the covers had on them was the UA in different colors, 1 to 3, with different backgrounds to really make them stand out. And I said, this needs to have this because it's an ode to what I had before. Along with, you can still see Devin doing the superhero suit pull, and then you've got Brett behind him with the katana coming from behind his back, just to show that there is a bromance between the two characters. And she has done all my covers since. What I really love was when it came to Dino Rift, I told her I need to have at least the kids in prehistoric times and a dinosaur in present times. And she came up with this.
That's great.
From that. And I went, yup, let's do it. And she ended up said she had fun with Sorkor Salvation, because when it comes to the mammoth, she actually went in and made it fluffier.
That's great.
And I was like, you can definitely tell she added the fluff.
Love that.
And then when it came to Primeval Ranch, the only thing that I had to ask her to do was, because when you look at Dino Rift and Sorkor, you've got the creatures behind the rifts. And I said, you know what, for this one, what if we had the dinosaur come through the rift at the top? And I'm so glad that I mentioned that, because it also, being a spin-off and kind of new characters, it shows almost like a new era of the series.
I do love that.
So,
I absolutely love
Tanya, we can get that set up.
And I was skimming down some of these chats, and I see a couple talk about, yes, Norse mythology is very dark. So is my series. I joked about for the last book that I should just send out tissue, the little tissue boxes with my book as part of like the little book conglomerate thing, because some people are going to need them. But yes, it is dark, but it is dark in its own special way. I really love Norse mythology, and I did do a lot of research to be as immersive and true to form in many ways as I could. There are a couple of things I adjusted. That's just the way it goes. But for the most part, kept true to it. And going down...
It's okay to be sad, Tori. It's okay to be sad, Tori. We need the releases.
Yes.
We need them. We go through so much crap in life. We need the emotional release of connecting with characters.
And I also see a question for both of us saying, do we have audiobooks? So are any of your books in audiobook form right now, Derek?
The only books in audiobook are Dino Rift and Sorkor. I'm hoping to get Isabella Tugman back for Primeval Ranch, though she did warn me that her Spanish accent is not the greatest, so she may have to work on that. But I have full faith in her.
I like that. And yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, just depending on how you do audiobooks, they can be a little pricey. So for the authors, sometimes we have to like spread them out, not because we don't want them there immediately. I wish I had all mine already in audiobook form, but I'm playing the long catch-up game because I waited for a while, just trying to establish myself a little bit more, and now I'm doing that whole try to sprint to catch up because I write fast.
Oh, thank you for the Kayla. Shouldn't you be in bed? You're in the UK.
But yes, sorry. Also, let me explain that a little better. For audiobooks, I have the first two of my young adult series out, and they're narrated by the fantastic narrator Blanca Frappier. She's here on Book Talk.
Blanca.
Yeah, and
Love
so
Blanca.
She's
so
will
sweet.
be working on the third one, I think, towards the very end of this year. So we should probably expect it. If not the end of this year, the beginning of next one. My audiobooks for The Guardian Speaker, which is my Barking Dark Fantasy for mature readers, they're narrated by the British actor George Blagden, who was on the Vikings TV show. Fantastic narrator. He's wrapping up the 8th one, so that one should be released before the end of this month. And for my Incarn Saga series, the first book was a voice cast, and that was for Asara's Claws. Really neat. The one thing I'll throw out there, the particular group who did it loved their product, but they decided that audiobooks weren't going to be what they wanted to go for going forward. So right now I'm in the works of trying to get new narrators for the sequels of that series. But that's where they all stand at this moment in time.
I would actually love to narrate my own superhero series. The only thing I would definitely have to work on is my Russian accent, because it's horrible. And all I can really do is like vodka, feels like. Though I did read from it on live one time, and someone who was from like European country said I actually did a really good Russian accent, and I was very surprised they said that. I'm like, really? Are you sure? Did you hear correctly?
Yeah. No, that's cool. Like, I could never be an audiobook narrator. Kudos for everybody who does it. I see a couple people here that do it, and I'm not that talented. Everybody would sound the same. It'd be like,
yeah, right.
This is what you get. Maybe with a little bit of inflection, but like, this is what you get. I do not have that capability to make myself sound like a truly different person. And people who are narrators, I applaud you. You are so talented, and I respect you.
Definitely, yeah. And it's like they'll go to YouTube. They will hone their accent until it is perfect, and it's like, do I have the patience for that? I hope so.
Yes. Well, I was going to say, hey, it sounds like you could do an accent. They already said you could do an accent. You just have to, like you said, put a little effort into it. But there is also the aspect of a lot of narrators have their own setups and everything. And I'll be honest, took me long enough before I could just get my book set up.
Yeah. I do feel like the one character I would have fun voicing in my Ultimate series is, his name's Spencer Raymond, and he ends up in a genetically spliced tiger shark body, like tiger with a shark fin on the top. And the way I wrote him was to just sound very gruff, kind of like Liam Neeson. And I actually, when he gets his new voice, I have him say, "Rubber baby buggy bumpers." Because he's trying to figure out how it's going to work.
Yes. I love that. I feel like now, I love that. I really do.
It's so fun.
And for Kayla, I write a variety of fantasy. I'll give you a quick rundown. I have 3 different series. I have a young adult, adventure and quest-based portal fantasy set in a magical multiverse. It is clean fantasy, so family-friendly. There are, some of the iconic vibes for OYA, so you're going to have a little bit of are you the chosen one, or if not, what's going to happen to you, and found family and things like that. It's a lot of fun. It's inspired by 1,002 things, as we said earlier, from my childhood. But I bet it would be hard for someone to pick them out until I pointed them out. Going for a little older group, I have my debut series, which is 4 books in all, and I haven't shown any of those book covers, so I have, starting with Asara's Claws. That is a complete series. It's a dark war-based series. And about a kingdom on the verge of war, and can humans and shapeshifters put aside their differences in order to fend off a greater threat. And my final series that I have at this moment in time, that will soon change, is my other complete series now, and it is a series of novellas aimed for mature readers, and it's a dark retelling of Norse mythology, so Viking fantasy.
Viking fantasy. I love it.
That's
Also,
the tag I'm
the
trying to use.
cuteness.
I love it. Her, him,
Got
him,
her
her.
head tucked. Her. So this is Libby.
Hi.
But she's got her whole head tucked in there. Little pink nose just peeking out.
I'm definitely I love all animals.
Me too.
So much.
You know what? Growing up, I had dogs my entire life. Never had a cat. And I've had her since, oh gosh, 2 Junes ago. And I'm like, how did I ever not have a cat? I love having her around. She acts a lot like a dog too, actually. Like, she'll come greet me at the door when I come home. She'll play fetch. She hops up on the bed and sleeps usually between my legs or my feet at night. And I'm always worried that I'm going to like crush her.
Yes.
But yeah, she loves her pets. She's a Velcro cat. But yeah, she's awesome. She's actually, when we got her, we learned that she had fertility issues and was never able to have kittens. But the thing that got me to know that she was an amazing cat was she would try to help the other mother cats after they had their kittens, being like, I can't have them, but I want to help. It's so sweet. I'm like, this is a special cat.
Oh, that is sweet. I used to have a cat, and she was very dog-like, and actually preferred to live with the dogs. So wherever the dogs went, she would be with them. She was her own personality. But growing up, yeah, I had I used to also live in the rural side of Georgia, so I was able to have anything from show cattle to chickens to rabbits to all the kind of things. I was licensed for wildlife rehabilitator, so depending on the time of life, I may have had possums to squirrels to birds in my house.
Possums are so cute. They get such a bad rep.
Possums are cute. I love possums. I actually have a possum character in my YA series.
Oh, that's good.
But right now I only have 2. And they're both rescues. One's my Irish Wolfhound Odin, and the other one, the newbie, is a husky named Bonnie, and she's a handful. But that is.
They have so much personality and angst.
They definitely have personality.
I have a friend who raised Alaskan Malamutes for years, and I always loved going to her place. She's out in the country, surrounded by trees. And she had all her kennels set up and everything. And the best part of it was whenever she would go, okay, ladies, sing. And they all just start howling at the same time like a pack of wolves. And it's such a cool feeling being around that.
That is wild. Malamutes are beautiful. Malamutes are beautiful.
Oh, so fluffy.
I will admit, I told my husband I was never going to get a husky. Because I work from the house and I want quiet dogs. Right. Quiet animals, because I need to work. Lo and behold, we have a husky now.
So if I were to go,
thankfully she's quiet, and I will be very mean to you if you teach her how to do that. It's the only reason she has. She's everything else like a husky, but she doesn't know she has her voice yet.
Oh, okay. So like still a puppy?
She's just a little over 1. So not that much, but we're gonna just shh.
Oh man, I need to come over and teach her
now. No, sir, absolutely not. Nope, absolutely not. But
I really hope she hears this.
I will be so angry at you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't make me angry.
Sorry, not sorry.
don't make me angry. I'll Hulk out. But okay, let's go back. Let's go back to the.
That's a rough howl.
Let's go back to the
People are rating my howls now.
Okay, so your book's coming out in April. Do you have plans for any other subsequent books, or are you going to change gears yet again because you have written now 3 of these that kind of all are in the same vibe, and you have some precursing ones in the same world system. So what would be next?
The way I finished Primeval Ranch, it is open to sequels. I'm just kind of seeing how people appreciate the characters. I am working on a prequel to Dino Rift called Sorecore Origins, kind of how everything started and how they hired on one of the main scientists or archaeologists, Theodore Lewis, which is also a character in Dino Rift. We meet also in Dino Rift his stepdaughter, Emily Ann, who's in search of her lost father. So that kind of shows you, everybody kind of knows how Origins is going to end, is how he's banished to prehistoric times, but the story of how everything started, his hiring, how he realizes that Sorcor is kind of an evil corporation, and how they don't care, and they're like, okay, see ya.
Interesting.
So, and there's actually going to be some revelations in Origins that is going to add a lot to one of the first chapters of Dino Rift that people are not going to expect.
That is really neat. I love when you read a book and all of a sudden, like, all the dots connect in a way. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
see what you did there. I love that. I absolutely love that. Now, I also just noticed that the hour has been racing by a little quicker than I thought. It always is quick when I talk with you.
So fun.
Just so much fun, though. Okay. Now, getting to the serious part, let me ask the questions that I always try to ask, because if this platform's nice, which most of the time it is, I will repurpose this video on my YouTube channel and put all your information down below. But some of the questions I like to ask is, outside of Book Talk, where else can people find and follow you? What are the socials, if any? Do you have a newsletter? Do you have a website?
I do have a newsletter. I have a website. It's derekborne.weebly.com. Weebly because I haven't paid for the full version yet. Because I'm frugal. You can also find me. I'm pretty active on Facebook. That's kind of where I started my author journey, and I'm still on there. I have a readers group on there. I would say my author profile has really just become my personal profile. So I talk about everything, even everything happening with my dad with his cancer and chemo. So that's been a fun ride, especially with Lucero. Kind of fun, not fun story. I wrote her character of losing her mom to cancer, finished writing it in April last year, and then found out that my dad had cancer mid-November of last year. So it was a very hard-hitting, I keep telling people either when this comes out, I'm going to be really happy, or I'm going to be a mess. Things are going well, like treatment-wise. Like things are, he's not losing weight. He's trying to keep as positive as possible, which you need to be, especially in that situation. But yeah, so I'm a totally open book. I talk about everything because, I mean, we all go through the same things, and I have found an amazing community on there too. I don't do X. I should do Instagram more. I'm on there. And I haven't tried the new socials because I'm kind of comfortable in my social media bubble now. So
and that's the thing, is like, you shouldn't feel obligated to be on all the things, because you want to make sure whatever you're putting your time and energy and your emotions into, you do justice by. But you also kind of need to have more than one, because as we saw at the beginning of the year in these states, you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. The other place you can actually find me now too, which is kind of fun, really trying to ramp it up, though I need to spend more time on it, social media. Me and fellow author Libby Weber, who is in Okinawa on a military base. She writes assassin thriller stuff. She had me on for an interview, and by the end of it, she goes, "Do you want to start a podcast with me?" And I went,
"Yes."
"Me?"
I remember.
And she goes, "Yes." So first episode is up on YouTube. It is called the Novel Network Podcast, where we like to interview and talk to everybody involved with the creation of a book, from the author to editors to formatters to cover designers. We haven't had one on yet, but we do have one coming.
Don't forget audiobook
narrators.
Yep.
Narrators, like, we want to talk to everybody, because it takes more than just one person to bring a book to life.
Yes, absolutely. And
I feel like even cover designers, they don't get to do much of interviews, even editors for that matter. We have had 2 authors on that also are editors. So it's been fun to talk to them and pick their
About both
brains.
sides.
And we let the conversation go as organically as possible. If we end up talking about narwhals, which we do in the first episode, it's like, you know what? Sure, let's have fun. Let's just discuss this and digress for a few minutes.
The unicorns of the sea.
Yes, of course.
The unicorns of the sea.
So.
Okay, let me also ask, one of the other big questions for people who are interested is, where can people get your books? Are you exclusively on? Do you sell direct? Are you wide? Where can people find and get your books? And what formats are they in?
So the Ultimate Ninja series, also Tori, I did not sing the narwhal song. Although I did say, I caught you a sweet bass. We were talking about, like, how do narwhals, like, even, you know, do they flirt with each other with the horns or whatever? Do they impress one another with the I don't know.
Surprisingly, those are teeth. I'm pretty sure those are teeth. So it's
That's
like you got
true.
a big tooth. You got the biggest of teeth.
Yes. Yeah, Ultimate Ninja series is Amazon only, not KU. They're an ebook and paperback format. The Dino Riff series, you can get an ebook, paperback, and audio for the first two, hopefully audio for the third. The Dino Riff series is also wide because I hadn't done wide before and wanted to see if it would help. I don't get much from wide. It's like sometimes cents one month, a couple bucks the next month. So, but they're on there, they're out there. So.
I kind of started moving my stuff wide. I don't have my print wide yet, but for ebooks and a lot of my audiobooks, I just started doing that towards the beginning of this year because I, one, want to see, kind of test things out. Two, I do know there are people who don't want to support Zon and use other platforms to listen to the books or read the books. And I want to be available widely to as many people as possible and not put all my eggs in one basket. And that was just personal choice. Though each author can choose how they want to do it with each book, to series, to all their work. So it's a game. It's a game we play.
And you know what? Like, even for Amazon, like I'm one of those people that likes to say, okay, can I beat this? You know, the pre-order thing, like Primeval Ranch beat Dino Riff 65 pre-orders, but today it's got 66. I am also, last I checked, 32 ebook and paperback sales away for Dino Rift from 1,000 copies.
Woo!
And I'm like, I'm indie. I didn't think I would ever make any, like, 1,000 for one book. What? Like, that's not counting audiobooks. For me, it's like I like to show that I can also do things and get these on my own. Audiobook is its own version of the book, but to say ebooks and paperbacks to 1,000 is so close is just wow. I thank everybody that has taken a chance on these books, because again, I was just talking to someone earlier today that said they felt like giving up, and I went, you know what? I can't tell you how many times I have read through my manuscripts before publishing them and went, this could be better. But at some point we do have to just walk away, publish it, and now I've got like over 7,000 followers on TikTok because of people that either like my vibe, love my books, or just want to be book buds, and I'm cool with any of that. So, yeah, it's a great community. It really is.
And that's a fantastic point you made of, I'm sure there's always exceptions to every rule, but there are so many of us that we do have to finally say, are we happy where this is? Because as artists, as creators, as authors, as however you want to view us, we could always tweak, we could always update. I'll look back at my earlier series and be like, well, today I would do things a little differently. Doesn't
of course.
That is, you know, they've gotten recognitions, awards, etc., so on.
There's
but
parts
we
in
all
this
live
first
and grow,
book,
and you just have to stop going down.
I cringe. I read parts and I'm like, no. I'm sorry, but no.
But that's a good, actually, here's the thing. That's a good sign. That means you are improving. You haven't flatlined. You are improving. And
although I say we walk away from a book, I probably should have kept around a little bit longer for this one before, ordering 60 copies and
Well,
errors, oopsies.
true. Don't get over cocky as well.
Yeah, don't get over
all
cocky.
the rereads
No.
and all that. And do you use any kind of grammar stuff on your side? I know there's that iffy things with like,
You know
just
what?
word,
AI does have its place. And
Yes.
to be fair, in my flurry of going through my manuscript, realizing there were errors, I did use Grammarly just to catch anything else. Just for that final pass. I did not use it before, but that's kind of the first time I really used Grammarly to that large extent. I may use it again, and the other thing that I think I want to do next time is actually put the manuscript through a voice reader.
Yes, that's always good to do because
I've never done that, and I think I want to do that next time.
Funny thing is, one of my editors does that because that's part of
Tanya.
the process.
I got to call up Tanya.
Yeah, she'll listen just to see if she's catching anything that, even though she's gone through a couple times, just to listen through and then go through again. But it's all the process. It is the process.
Sorry, Tori just mentioned one of my errors. Flower petal. That was one that snuck past. PEDAL instead of PETAL. How? I don't know. I really don't know.
It's because you're so close to your content. It really is. You're so close, and you see what you want it to read. And I know that happens to me, and that's why we have the beta readers. We have, editors. We have the post polish.
So one of the other things that slipped past me was slamming on the brakes. BREAKS.
Oh.
And I was like, how did that? Seriously. I shook my head so many times. But anyway.
It's okay. Yes, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And we just do our best. And the nice thing about being indie, we can upload files, and theoretically, they're supposed to be instantaneously.
Tori.
But okay, so the last question I have for the evening before I wrap up is one for not only you, Derek, but for everybody listening. Are there any questions you guys wanted to ask that you didn't get a chance to ask, or topics you wanted to cover that you didn't get to cover? And any announcements, which is for him, for sure. I know he has a release in April 15th.
50th. You got it.
Yes. So.
I'm game for
Pre-order
any questions. Within reason.
Within reason.
No
Within
spoilers.
the certain framework.
I think I've given away too many spoilers
I've
today.
gotten some. When I ask that question, sometimes people will post some odd questions. I'm like, okay. When are you coming to the U.S.?
When am I coming to the U.S.? That's a really good question.
It's not my dog.
Last time I came to the U.S. was that 3 Januaries ago? I went to Washington for a concert.
Nice.
Stayed for about 5 days. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Man, there's so much to do in Washington, especially all the museums and that.
Oh, yeah.
But we did the concert was the main reason why we went. It was two of our favorite artists that played with the National Symphony Orchestra. Mm-hmm. And it was honestly the best concert I have ever been to. It was my wife's first time ever going to a physical concert.
Wow.
I set the bar really high. So the artists actually, Tori, are mentioned in Dino Rift, Ben Rector and Cody Fry. Ooh. They're two separate artists, but they are best friends. Lexi! And they decided, hey, you know what? Let's do a show, National Symphony Orchestra, because Cody Fry is actually also a very musically gifted composer. Mm-hmm. His father's a composer, so he knew how to take Ben's songs, apply the orchestra to it, and it was like hearing Ben's songs in a whole new light.
That's neat.
And we were 4 rows from the front.
That's neat.
And where we were sitting, right on the aisle, was where their microphone was set up, and the piano was right there. It was like they were singing right to us. It was great. My wife also does make beautiful jewelry. She has an Etsy shop called Allura Natura. I will write that in the comments if anyone wants to check it out.
Yeah,
she actually just made a cardinal bracelet for someone with the ruby as the wing.
Oh, wow.
Which turned out absolutely beautiful.
See, both of you guys are Artistic.
She's very creative. Yeah, she's I would say as creative as I am. I hope to come to the States soon, though. I mean, if there's a book show that I can afford to come down for, I'm game. So, I know I've got so many book friends in the States now. It's like I have to take a year off just to visit all of you.
Do a book tour.
Oh man, could I afford it? I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. It all depends on how you do it. I know
Derek is crafty.
Yes. I know as person starting to do more and more events, there are like loopholes and things because if you get accepted to certain events to be panelists, usually you get your tickets comped, and if you then are selling there, hopefully you make some of that back and theoretically make money.
Yeah.
But
also, hi DE. We had DE on for an episode that still needs to be edited and will be up next week.
Fantastic.
If all works well. We're kind of in a weird, so Libby being in Okinawa, my Friday night is her Saturday morning. Mm-hmm. So that's usually when we're able to record. And then she messaged me maybe 2 weeks ago, and she goes, so my son's starting soccer on the weekends. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, so when are we going to record? I'm like, I could do Saturday nights if you want, if it works, but we're kind of in a weird funk right now for recording. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, we're definitely going to set that up for next week. We do have Libby's narrator on to be uploaded this Friday, Michael Neeb. He's so much fun. Actually found out it's such a small world. So, the fact that she's in Okinawa, her narrator lives in Brantford, Ontario. I live 10 minutes away from Brantford. Mm-hmm. And we have never met before until we did that. But it's like, hey, we should get together for a beer sometime, because we can.
Great. Hey, so. I love that. The world can be small sometimes. And I do see DE, yes. Her Kickstarter launched recently, and it was funny, because today I was doing some behind the scenes, kind of poking around, because I'm planning for my next couple, and I did look at yours earlier as one of my who's doing fantastic on here, and I was just like,
nice. Congratulations, Dee.
So, I love that. Anywho, I unfortunately do have to turn, and it is time for me to let out Sid Dog and move on to the wind down time of my life. But thank you so much for hanging out with me, and
thanks for having me again.
Bumping this.
This is number 3, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times in Charmer.
Are you trying to get me to be a co-host too, or like what's happening here?
I mean, I'm all for it. Actually, I do think it would be fun to do some kind of author roundtable, periodically, and just to goof off and chat and whatever. But
you should do it like just once a month. Just have like a bunch.
But yeah, it would be kind of. I would have to figure out how to plan that, because it's the planning side that I'm kind of maxing out on my planning capabilities. But I do like this idea, and if, in theory, things kind of slow down...
Slow down? What? Did you put those two words together?
I know. That may be something. Maybe a possibility. But, anywho, thank you so much for doing this again. I always love you on, and of course I'm going to try and have you on again, and I'm super excited for your next book launch coming up.
You're always such a fun host too, because you're so easygoing. I love that about you. You're just like, hey, you know what? I'm sure Derek's going to digress again many times throughout this, but
sometimes that's like the best part is when you get to the point of knowing people to a stage where you're comfortable. You don't have to cover, the basics. You could just chat and show your kitty. And I don't know if I see her sleeping still right behind you, but
yeah.
Sweetie.
Little lip.
Yep. Okay. Sorry, I have a question. Do I have any room to have me on live during campaign? Message me after this and let me know your dates, like when it ends, and I can always try to fit you in, because I've done it before for other people when they've been doing special things like Kickstarters, that I can always do a special, a double one for a week. But yeah, I can make them. I can make
also,
that
thank you for all the likes on this, guys. 6.5.
Yes,
awesome.
It's because you're so likable, Derek.
Nah, well, that's debatable.
You're very likable.
Nobody here has seen the mean Derek come out.
I don't believe
except
you
the KDB guy.
I do not believe that. I would be shocked, but you know, I don't believe it. I can't do it. Okay, for real this time. Bye everyone. I do need to go.
Bye.
I will see you next time. I do these weekly, and again, Derek, if you ever want to jump on another one, let me know.
Anytime.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for hopping in.